We go live now to 9 on your side's Lustelia Caballero, who has been on the scene since the start of the rally. And Lustelia, the protest has now ended after many hours. Run us through what you saw.
Well, that meeting was set to start at 7 p.m. and clearly that did not happen. Instead, the sheriff's department worked to clear that building for more than an hour.
And I got up and I walked out exactly like they are.
Yeah, Lustelia, we've had some technical difficulties. We'll get to that package, but we got some information tonight. The district just now telling us that there were 2 board members that had stayed on, not 3, and that they went ahead and had some of the parents and some students speak as well. Masks are still required at all the schools until the end of the school year. Nothing has changed there. Now, the sheriff telling me tonight there were no arrests or injuries, but let's go back for a moment. We did explain what was happening with the sheriff's department, who said what, and why that meeting was canceled. Now, you asked a deputy that question tonight. What did he tell you?
Well, he said there were several factors. First and foremost, the main concern, capacity. As parents came in, they quickly reached the capacity. They said they maxed out quickly. The second concern was the lack of mask usage with the folks that were in the rally, both with the parents, the students, the children, all that were there. The third one was, they said, and quote, it just got to be too much. So again, that's the deputies. Also, some board members expressed very similar things. Again, capacity being the #1 concern, followed by the lack of mask usage and ultimately just crowds outside blocking the door. In fact, our crews were inside almost immediately once the parents started walking in. KGA 9 was on scene, and that's what we saw. We saw parents without masks, and of course, initially everything started peacefully. Emotions were running rampant, but overall, sheriff deputies were on scene, and then they were able to talk to them and eventually, as you mentioned, negotiate something with the parents to allow 5 students to come in, and each of those students were allowed to come in with 1 parent. So after that, maybe 30 to 40 minutes later, parents started slowly going away from the entryway of the door that was originally full of people, and then they started going to their cars, and things kind of started clearing out from there. But it was not a course over the course of 30 minutes. It was well over an hour. We're talking, they showed up at 6:15, and by the time they left, it was well after 8 o'clock. Reporting live from Vail, Lustelia Caballero, KGA 9. On your side. Val, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, let me just ask you some more questions about this. Unfortunately, again, technical difficulties, and we can't show you as things were unfolding, and we really wanted to show that tonight, and maybe we will be able to do that by the end of the newscast. It is important to see this, but kind of just tell me what that tone was. You know, when you talk about crowds, they're emotional, things like that, but what was the overall tone through the course of this entire rally?
You know, from the get, the parents just wanted to be heard. Some were saying they wanted masks to be optional. Of course, you have other parents that don't want any masks at all, and they want to ultimately be able to make that decision for their children, for their families. We talked to parents who quite the opposite. They want masks. They think that they protect the students, they protect teachers, and they protect family members at home. The tone was set very peacefully. They were outside with their signs, standing very far removed from the door. It wasn't really until it seemed like there was a disconnect or maybe not enough communication to where parents were confused as to why they were not let into the building. And then eventually you get folks trying to get in. Then once deputies come and they're involved now, then parents are wondering, well, why are deputies involved? Naturally, the deputies are saying, hey, you all need to step back a little bit. We're trying to figure things out. And again, the KGA 9 crew was inside, and ultimately we saw it unfold right before our eyes. The meeting was canceled. Parents were confused about that because they were very, very eager to speak, and they had their cards. In fact, board members were giving parents cards, and then I think once the board decided that it was time to cancel the meeting because they were in that study session and they didn't actually start the meeting. So there was some miscommunication on whether the meeting started or not. Well, it didn't start. And so parents just really wanted to be heard. So after that, the tone really changed to, well, we really, really, really want to be heard, and we feel like the board isn't allowing us to be heard. But eventually, again, those 5 students were allowed to go in. Again, meeting was canceled, and not all board members were present, but 5 students were able to be heard, and they were able to walk in with a parent, and then emotions kind of started, tension started to go down after that.
And the district told us about 10 minutes ago, that, speaking of miscommunication, that there's social media posts that said board members had, or a board member had left and had resigned. They basically say that is not true. And again, masks are required at all schools until the end of the school year. Thank you so much, Luz Delia, and thank you for that report.